Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Dr. Azam Khan and this is a little tutorial which will let you know how you can check a reliability, validity and as well as how you are going to run a hypothesis on a smart PLS and as well as how you are going to test the indirect hypothesis which is through the mediator and how you can check a moderating impact of the moderator on the smart PLS, and as well as we are going to look into the second order constructs as well and how you can create a higher order construct on the smart PLS and then you can check your hypothesis. So first of all, let's have a look at the backend files that we have and which kind of model we are going to run on the smart PLS. So this is a model that we have at the moment with us. So this is a research framework. Here we have 6 independent variables, then we have one mediator, then we have here moderator, and on the right hand side we have our dependent variable. So this is how you are going to create a research framework manually on the Word file, and then obviously you have to create this kind of model on the smart PLS as well. So this is how you are going to create a hypothesis on your Word file from this research framework. So obviously we have 6 hypotheses through the independent variables through the dependent variable, then we will have 6 hypotheses from the mediator, and then we will have 6 hypotheses lastly from the moderator as well. So once you are going to have this kind of data, obviously these constructs have actually been explored by the previous researchers, and obviously we have adapted the items from the previous researches as well. So you can adopt and adapt these constructs items from the previous researches. Obviously in the quantitative research, this is not a kind of qualitative research when you actually interview people. This is the kind of quantitative research in which you use instruments, or you can say items, to check the influence of these variables into each other. So in this case, obviously, here we have our items, and the items data which we have is already over here. So this is the data in which we are going to run an analysis, which you are looking at the moment. So this data we are going to run, and these are the responses to make sure that everything is correct. One is representing, obviously this data is collected from a 5-point Likert scale from strongly agree to strongly disagree. One is representing strongly agree, the second one is representing agree, the third one is representing neutral, the fourth one is representing disagree, and the fifth one is representing strongly disagree. So obviously you will have this kind of data once you are going to collect the data from your participants, and you are going to ask the questions related to this research framework which I have already shown you. Now first of all, here once you are going to open this smart PLS, it is going to ask you for a new workspace. So here you have to give it the folder, so you can get into any folder that you have, and then you have to press the folder and then you have to select folder, and all the things which are going to be done on the smart PLS is going to be saved in whatever folder you have selected. So I have already selected it. My work is actually time to time saving inside the C users, DSU, desktop and research. So go for a new project. Now name it sustainable development goals, and here you have to press create. Now once you are going to press create, here you will see this kind of window. So here it will ask you for importing a data. Press this, and now here you have to bring in the file that we have actually seen over here, which is over here obviously, which I have already shown you. Now get into that file. Here we have this file. Now once you are going to press it, here you will see this kind of window. So here we have minimum value, which is 1, which is representing strongly agree, and then we have max value, which is 5, which is representing strongly disagree. So if you are going to have some missing values, so let's say if some respondents have not replied to all the questions perfectly, then you are going to see that the zero column or row on the Excel sheet have no data. In this case, obviously, you will see missing value is over here. Now press import. And once you are going to import it, here you will see that we have 36 indicators and then we have 300 participants which are already contributed in this survey. Now press back. Now press create model. And here we have PLS SEM. So here we are going to run a PLS SEM because we are going to check our predictive capability of the variance. So for that we have partial least square structural equation modeling. Now we have one more option over here, which is CBSEM, covariance based structural equation modeling, which we used to do on the MOS. But after Smart PLS update and Smart PLS 4, now we have this option on the Smart PLS as well. And then we have regression, process, and GSCA. So these are all the options we have, but particularly for this kind of research, because here we are going for a PLS SEM, then in this case we are going to select PLS SEM. A model name will be Sustainable Development Goals and press save. So once you are going to press save, you will see this kind of window. Now we have to draw this kind of research framework inside here. This is a white empty screen that we have. Now move this one. Keep on pressing Control and then move it over here like this. So this is your renewable energy adoption. Here you go. And now move these items on the left hand side. Now items means the survey questionnaires we have asked from our participants. Okay, and this is your construct. So these items representing this renewable energy adoption. Now here, once you are going to draw it, so I'm not going to use all the independent variables over here because obviously for the sake of this video, I have to make this video short, otherwise it is going to be a long one. Here we have 6 independent variables, and from these 6 independent variables, we are only going to do analysis on 3 independent variables, 1 mediator, moderator, and dependent variable. And then we are going to select this SI34. Here we have 4 variables. Now here you go. So here we have all the independent variables. Actually 3 of them. 3 of them are left. Now QEA is your quality education access. It's better to name these variables over here. You don't have to put these names in QEA1, QEA2, QEA3, QEA4, but it's better to write the name of the full variable over here, just like I am doing it. Now, press sustainable infrastructure. Now this is directly copy and paste it. You can also move this text, and you can also edit it. So let's say if you want to make it small, now here you go. This is how you are going to move your text and edit your text as well. Now we have to bring in the dependent variable, which is in our case SDP 1, 2, 3, and 4. Move it over here. Make it a little bit closer. Make sure it is center aligned. Once it is going to be center aligned, you will see this kind of gray line which is appearing in between the independent and dependent variable, which is showing you the alignments. Now we have to connect these independent variables with the dependent variable like this one. Now for that we have to press this connect, which is appearing at the top. Move these arrows towards the dependent variable from the independent variable like this. Now we need mediator. So in our case, the mediator is institutional effectiveness and the moderator is public-private partnership. Now move this variable over here and move moderator at the bottom. Now it's not compulsory that you always move the mediator on the top hand side and you always move the moderator to the bottom side. You can actually swap them as well. You can go for moderator on the upside and you can keep your mediator on the downside. It's your call where you want to put it. Now align indicators to the right hand side. Now here we are going to connect the independent variable from the mediator first, like this. 3 arrows from independent variables toward the mediator and 1 arrow from mediator towards the dependent variable. So this is how you are going to draw a research framework on Smart PLS for the mediator. And in case of the moderator, you have to draw lines in between the independent and dependent variable line, like this, in between the lines of the independent and dependent variables. So here you have your small kind of research framework, and these are the items. So this is all done. Now the first thing we are going to do is that we have to check the outer loadings of these constructs, and for that we have to press this calculate, press PLS SEM algorithm. Now press this start calculation, keep all the things intact. And first of all, let's check outer loadings. So outer loadings tell you about the item reliability as per here et al. Smart PLS book. So the outer loadings value should be greater than 0.708. So in our case, some of the values are not greater than 0.708, but we are going to check one more thing before reporting these outer loadings, whether we have to keep them or not. This is going to be decided when we are going to look into the construct reliability and validity. Now press this construct reliability and validity. So here you can see there are no issues of construct reliability and validity over here, which means that there is no problem in keeping all the outer loadings, because the Cronbach alpha value and composite reliability value is greater than 0.7 and it is lower than 0.95. So this is recommended value by here et al. So if the values are greater than 0.7 and lower than 0.95, then in this case obviously we are going to cap these constructs items. Now here, once we are going to press this outer loadings, here we can see that all the items are almost greater than 0.708 except few. So in IE1 we can see that we have 0.699 value. So we are going to keep it because the overall construct reliability is actually greater than 0.7. So we can keep it until it is not lower than 0.4 and it is not affecting the whole construct reliability and validity. So first of all, we are going to report these outer loadings. For that, what we have to do is that we have to press this copy to Excel word. We have to open one Excel file and we are going to paste this one, match destination formatting. Use this one, and now here you will see a multiplier effect. You don't have to keep this multiplier effect one because this is a moderation outer loadings. Actually, we have already checked the outer loadings of moderation. So our moderator is triple P. So here we have already got this one. So these columns are a little bit extra. That's why I have deleted them. And then you have to copy them Actually, this one is also extra. So now you have to copy them into the Word file. Now here you have to go for this keep source formatting. Now here we are going to use the APA method. Now press this arrow, north, east, west, south arrow, and then go for auto fit to window. Now we are going to center align all these values like this. Here you go. Now if you want to readjust it, obviously you can do them. Now if it is not going to work, obviously the table size is too big, then in this case obviously you can go for auto fit to content, and then you can manually adjust the things. Now here you go. Now for the APA method, you have to draw one border line at the top of the heading, then top border, and then at the bottom of the line you have to go for bottom borders like this. So this is how you are going to format it. Move it a little bit down, and now you can go for table 4.1. So this is going to be a first step which you are going to use after you are going to report a demographic characteristics in chapter 4. Then you have to go for this outer loading to check that your constructs item reliability has been established. Now move it a little bit closer to this one. Now the first thing you are going to do is obviously you are going to check the outer loadings. So this is already done. Now you are going to report it that all the values, here you are going to report it obviously. Move it a little bit down. So this is how you are going to report it. Obviously, you can further elaborate it if you have thesis work, and obviously if you want to write more words, obviously you are going to report each item individually, and then you are going to mention those one which have higher item reliability and which have actually have lower item reliability like this one IE4, IE1, and then we are going to look into the higher one. Then we have this 0.877, we have 0.854 and many more. So first thing you are going to report this one. Okay, then we are going to move into the Cronbach alpha value. So for that you have to open report, you have to get into the construct reliability. So this is going to be a same column where we have find out outer loadings, and then we are going to, here we have auto loadings, and then just uh, at the bottom of the page we have construct reliability and validity. Here you can see that all the values are greater than the new criterion to check the construct reliability nowadays is composite reliability. So a lot of researchers are using this new criterion. A lot of people are not looking at the Cronbach alpha value, rather they are looking for a composite reliability value. So if you are going to look at the Cronbach alpha value or even composite reliability, the construct reliability in this particular scenario has been established. So what about the average variance extracted? How you are going to report it? For that, obviously, we have two kind of validities we have. The first one is the convergent validity, and the second one is a discriminant validity. For the discriminant validity, the new criterion is a heterotrait monotrait ratio criterion, and the average variance extracted, which is convergent validity, this value should be greater than 0.5. So in our instance, all the variables have greater than a 0.5 value. So it means the reliability of the construct has been established. Then obviously you have to copy and paste it into the Word file. For that, again, we are going to copy it and we are going to paste it into the Word file, into the Excel file first, like this. And now we are going to copy and paste it into the Word file. Now press this, keep source formatting. Again, we are going to do a similar thing over here. There you go. Now draw one line over here, one line over here, then one line over here. Here you go. Now this is going to be your table number 4.3 if I'm not wrong, and this is going to be table 4.2, because before that obviously you have talked about the demographic characteristic table. So this is going to be your table number 4.2 and this is going to be your table number 4.3. Obviously you have to do a little bit of editing, you have to move it around to make the things more adjustable, but for the sake of this video obviously I'm not going to look into too much editing things. Now here you're going to report it. So now here we have reported that the reliability of the construct has been established. Outer loading was already established. Now we have the reliability, composite reliability, which has shown that the reliability of the construct in this study, which we have used and which we have drawn in the Smart PLS, has been established. The AVE values, which is obviously average variance extracted values, is greater than 0.50. Now after that, what we will do, obviously we are going to go for a discriminant validity. For the discriminant validity, we have to press the discriminant validity, and here we can see that one value is actually, which is IE, is greater than 0.9. So this value should be lower than 0.5. If it is lower than 0.85, it is excellent. But if it is lower than 0.9, you can keep it. It is not going to be excellent one, it is going to be a good one, but you can keep it. So in our case, the triple P value is 0.963. So obviously we are going to delete some of the items to make sure that the discriminant validity went down below to 0.9 or 0.85. For that we have to delete some of the items from the IE. So let's delete the lower one first. Now delete this one and let's see how it is going to work on the discriminant validity. If the discriminant validity value is greater than 0.9, we are going to run a test again to make sure that discriminant validity is also there, and we are going to look into the heterotrait monotrait ratio. Now here you can see after deleting the IE4, we can see that the discriminant validity of the construct has been established. So there is no problem of discriminant validity here as well. PP over IE, here you can see that have no discriminant validity issues. Now this one can be further executed. There is no problem in this. So this is how you are going to make sure that the discriminant validity has been established. So after deleting the item, even if the discriminant validity is not established, it means that you have to conduct a survey again and you have to do this research again. Please keep this thing in mind. If the reliability and validity of the construct has not been established, you cannot further go with a study. You have to do the surveys again. Keep this thing in mind. If the reliability and validity is not there, you have to do the surveys again and you have to run the tests again. So this is going to be a lengthy procedure. Now after that, we are going to go for R square, and here we can see that the R square value is greater than 0.4. So here we have 2 R squares. So if you are going to have the mediator in your research framework, then you will have 2 R squares. If you are going to have only independent variable and dependent variable, you are going to have 1 R square. For the moderator, it is not going to reflect into the R square because it is going to be reported into a slope analysis, simple slope analysis, which is over here. So we are going to talk about it later in our other videos. So first of all, we are going to go into the R square, and obviously the value is 0.485 and 499. It means that these model independent variables are influencing the dependent variable 48.5%. And so this is a mediator actually. This is a mediator variable. So the mediator is actually influencing the variables 48.5%, and SDP, which you are looking at the moment, which is your real model from the independent dependent, these variables are influencing each other 49.9%. So it is all okay. This is within a limit of the hair et al, which is seems to me a moderate influence of these variables onto each other. So there is a reference in the Smart PLS book for the R square values, which are actually weak effect reference, and as well as moderate effect and higher effect. So this, in this case, in this particular scenario, there are many references actually which are going to tell you about the R square, but this one obviously showing us a moderate effect. Now here, once you are going to check this, you have to get into hypothesis testing. For the hypothesis testing, you have to press this calculate, go for bootstrapping, and here we are going to check our direct hypothesis first. So run the hypothesis. Now press this path coefficient. Now here you can see that we have SDP, which is our dependent variable, which is the sustainable development performance. And then we have IE, which is institutional effectiveness. So obviously we are not going to test the institutional effectiveness over the sustainable development performance. So we are going to not report this. We are going to look into the independent and dependent variable, because here we are looking at the direct hypothesis testing first, and then we are going to report into indirect effect hypothesis testing, and then after that we are going to look into the moderation effect. Now here you can see that quality education access is our independent variable, and quality education access over SDP is actually insignificant. So obviously this hypothesis has been rejected, which we have created from our research framework, because the value is not lower than 0.05. So this value should be lower than, p value should be lower than 0.05 to make it significant. But in this specific scenario, quality education access has no relationship with the insignificant relationship with the sustainable development performance. Now moving on to the renewable energy adoption, which is our independent variable. So this one is again insignificant. We have minus 0.108 and this value is 0.115. In this case, obviously again the hypothesis has been rejected. So two direct hypotheses has been rejected according to these results. Then we have sustainable infrastructure over SDP, sustainable development performance. So here we can see that we have a significant value, but we have negative and significant relationship between sustainable infrastructure and sustainable development performance. Because this is in negative, obviously we are going to mention that there is a significant but negative relationship between sustainable infrastructure and sustainable development performance according to this research. Now moving on to the moderator, once you are going to see this multiplier effect, it means we are talking about the moderator. PP is our moderator, and this is a public-private partnership. Here you can see that here we have no moderation effect, as all the values here you can see are insignificant. None of them are below 0.05, which means there is no moderation effect of triple P onto sustainable infrastructure, SDP, quality education access, SDP, renewable energy adoption, and SDP. So obviously if all the moderations not occur in your research, obviously the people who are going to actually look into your research will ask you why you have taken this moderator if it is not moderating any of your independent and dependent variable. So this is going to be a very problematic situation for you. So make sure that at least if you have 3 independent variables and 1 dependent variable, at least 1 or 2 moderation occurs between your independent and dependent variable. Now moving on to the specific indirect effect, this is for the mediation. Press this specific indirect effect, and here you can see that there is a mediation of IE between quality education and access, because here you can see that we have a positive value, and then we have 0.00, which is lower than 0.05. It means that IE is actually mediating a relationship between quality education access and SDP. So let's see if it is a full mediation or not. For the full mediation, we have to look into the quality education access and SDP relationship into our path coefficient, quality education, where SDP is insignificant over here. However, in the presence of this IE, the mediation occurs, which means there is a full mediation of IE between quality education access and SDP, as there is no relationship between quality education access and SDP when we have looked into a direct hypothesis. Now moving on to the second one, renewable energy adoption. Now here we can see that there is a mediation of IE between renewable energy adoption and SDP, so because the value is positive. And here we can see that it is also highly significant, highly and positively significant. And let's see whether we have a direct relationship between renewable energy adoption and SDP or not. Now press this path coefficient, and when we move here, we can see that there is no relationship. But due to this mediator, here we can see that there is a full mediation again. So what if there is a direct relationship and as well as we have a relationship through the moderator? Then we will say there is a partial mediation between I, renewable energy adoption, and SDP. When there is no direct relationship, obviously, and it is only because of mediator, then you will say there is a full mediation between independent and dependent variable through the I. So this is how you are going to respond it. Now here you can see that sustainable infrastructure, which is creating a direct relationship over here, is not creating any relationship through the mediator. So obviously here you're going to say that there is insignificant relationship, mediating effect of I between sustainable infrastructure and SDP. So obviously you have to copy and paste all these things into the Word file, and then you have to report them. For the sake of this video, I am not showing you all these things, but obviously in the next video, we are going to look into it, how you can report all these things in to the Word file. But obviously when I'm saying the things, you can write all these things in your Word file to further explain it. So this is how you are going to do analysis uh, on the smart PLS. Now move on to the higher order construct approach. Now let's say if we have this model which we have already run, as we have already reported the moderation analysis as well as the direct hypothesis, the indirect hypothesis. Now we are going to go for a higher order construct, and let's say we are saying that these three independent variables like renewable energy adoption, quality education access, sustainable infrastructure is going to create one higher order construct, and it is going to be sustainable development goals, or you can say sustainable development motive. What we are going to do is that first of all, we are going to get into calculate, we are going to press PLS SEM algorithm, and then we are going to press start calculation. So first of all, what we will do is that we have 3 to 4 types of higher order construct that we can create. We have reflective formative construct, then we have formative reflective construct, and then we have reflective reflective and formative construct. So first of all, if we are saying that these three variables are going to create sustainable development goals motive, then in this case obviously we need a data of these three independent variables, and for that we are going to use a disjoint approach in this particular video. And here we are going to go for latent variables, and once we are going to press this latent variables, we are going to go for copy to Excel and Word. Then we are going to copy this data over here. Now here what we have to do is that we have a similar data file that we have already executed in the smart PLS, which I have already shown you. Here I am going to paste the data which I have copied from the smart PLS, from the latent variables. So we have to actually make a higher order of these three constructs. So we are going to use the latent variable scores of these specific three lower order constructs. Now we are not going to create any higher order construct for this, for this, for this. We are particularly going to use the higher order construct for this. But however, if you want to create a higher order construct for this, this, and this, you can use it, and you can use the latent variable scores to create the higher order construct for this mediator, moderator, and dependent variable using a same procedure. Now we have IE. First of all, delete this one. Now we have IE. This is a mediator. This is a moderator. We are not going to go for a higher order construct of this. We have quality education access, which is our independent variable. We have renewable energy adoption, which is our independent variable. We are not going to have the SDP. This is our dependent variable. Then we have sustainable infrastructure. This is our independent variable. We are going to keep this because from these three latent variable scores, we are going to go for a formative construct, which is going to be our higher order construct. Now delete this one. Now here we are going to go back. We are going to press this save changes, yes, and then here we are going to go for a duplicate, and here we are going to look we are going to write second stage. There you go. Now open this up and remove these independent variables for a time being. Now what we have to do is that we have to delete this file and we have to bring in the file in which we have actually saved latent variable scores of those lower order independent variables. For that, we are going to press this import data file, sustainable development variables data, import. Now press this sustainable development second stage. Now here we can see that we have this quality education access, renewable energy adoption, sustainable infrastructure. So these are the latent variable scores columns that we have, and here you can see that these are the things which are appearing on the smart PLS. Now we are going to move these variables over here, and this is going to be our sustainable development goals motives. Okay, now as we are saying that these three independent variables are going to make sustainable development goals motives, we are going to invert this research framework into formative one, and for that we have to press the right mouse key. We have to invert measurement model. Now this has become our formative construct. So this is why it is called disjoint approach, reflective formative model. Now again we are going to do the same thing. Now here you go. Now we don't have to run this construct reliability and validity again. What we have to do is that we have to get into a calculate, because to check the reliability and validity of the higher order construct, we check outer weighs and outer loadings from the bootstrapping. So for the reliability and validity of this higher order construct, you have to press calculate, bootstrapping, go for start calculation, press path coefficient. Now here you can see that the sustainable development goal motives over IE is significant, so it is correct. There is no problem over here. Now first check outer loadings to make sure that this is reliable to check. So all the values here you can see that if we are going to look into the sustainable development goal motives, yes, it is reliable to test because the value is lower than 0.05. So there is no problem in the formative construct. So this is how you're going to check the reliability of the formative construct through the outer loadings and as well as through the outer ways. So all of them are actually good except this sustainable infrastructure, which is showing an insignificant value. However, if it is appearing insignificant, you can also go for outer loadings, and outer loadings there is no problem, so you can keep it. This is reliable to test. Even though if the outer ways is showing you a insignificant value over here, the second option you have is outer loading, and in outer loading here you can see that the value is significant. This means obviously the reliability of the higher order formative construct has been established. So here we are looking at the quality education axis. This is a lower order latent variable scores that we have taken, which you can look here. These are the three ones over this one. So this is how you're going to check the reliability. For the validity, what you have to do is that you have to press this calculate, go for PLS SEM algorithm, press start calculation. I am repeating it again. For the higher order construct, you don't have to check the reliability and validity of the construct. through the Cronbach alpha and convergent validity, you have to get into bootstrapping, then you have to check outer ways and outer loadings. Now for the validity, you have to check the VIF values. Now you can see there is no problem in the VIF values of the higher order construct that we have established. The quality education axis have lower than 3 value. It can be kept if it is lower than 5. If it is lower than 3, it is excellent. If it is greater than 3 and between lower than 5, it means it is actually not excellent. It is good. You can keep it. So there is a reference of it which you can check from many resources. So reliability and validity of the higher order construct has been established. Now the one thing you have to do is that you have to get into the calculate, you have to press this bootstrapping, and then you have to press start calculation. Press path coefficient. Now here you go, IE over SDP. We are not going to check this because we have not created this hypothesis. If you have created a hypothesis between the mediator and dependent variable, obviously you are going to report it, otherwise not. In our case, we have not actually created a hypothesis between the mediator and dependent variable. Then PPP over SDP, this is your moderator. We have not created this hypothesis as well. So obviously we are not going to report it. Then we have sustainable development goals, motives over the mediator. We have not actually created the hypothesis of this, so obviously we are not going to report it. And here we can see that sustainable development goals, motives over SDP. So this is insignificant. So actually the higher order construct not directly impacting the SDP. So this one is rejected. Now we are going to look into the moderation effect. So here you can see there was no moderation effect from some of the independent variables of triple P, but here you can see that now after making a higher order construct, there is a negative moderation impact on the SDP. So the moderating impact of triple P between sustainable development goals and motives and SDP is actually negatively significant, which you can look here because the value is negative. Now when we are going to press this specific indirect effect, here you can see that directly this formative construct is not making any relationship with the SDP, but with the mediator. Here you can see that it is creating a relationship, and it is creating a positive relationship between the sustainable development goal motive, which is your formative construct, and sustainable development performance. So this is how you are going to report it. For the reporting, obviously we are going to make another video. The part 2 of this video will be available soon on the YouTube. Now one last thing, how you are going to check whether the moderating impact is actually strengthening or weakening the relationship between independent and dependent variable. Because in the mediation, obviously mediator creates the relationship between independent and dependent variable, and moderator weakens or strengthens the relationship between independent and dependent variables. For that, you have to get into calculate PLS SEM algorithm, press start calculation. It is insignificant and it is negatively impacting your dependent variable. However, how we will get to know is strengthening or weakening. For that, we have to get into simple slope analysis. So you can see that the green line is much steeper as compared to the red line. It means it actually strengthen the relationship between independent and dependent variable, but negatively. So this is how you are going to report it, and this is how you are going to run an analysis of higher order construct and lower order construct on a smart PLS. Thank you for watching this video. Take care all of you. Have a lovely day.